There's a shocking theory in the Bluey universe that's going to blow your mind. There's a chance that Bingo might be an adopted pup. Could season 4 of the show finally reveal the truth behind this secret? If you watched the episode where we meet Chilli Healer's sister, you'll remember that the two of them had a pretty weird conversation about Bingo's appearance. Brandy says that Bluey looks a lot like Bandit, but then Chilli says that Bingo looks like Brandy. That's strange. Why would Chilli say something like that? It would make way more sense to say that the little red healer looks like her mom, right? Exactly! And that's why a really strong theory says that Bingo might actually be Brandy's daughter. But if that's true, then why did Bingo grow up as the healer's daughter? The answer is much harder to explain than you might think. The truth is, if you really pay attention to Chilli's sister, you'll notice she seems like a pretty sad person. Maybe it has something to do with their mom, who passed away when they were still young. In fact, if Brandy really is Bingo's birth mom, then we're pretty sure that both sisters, Chilli and Brandy, decided that Chilli should raise the little pup. Just like any pup, Bingo needs a home full of love, safety, and care. And maybe when Brandy got pregnant, she wasn't in a place where she could offer any of that to her daughter, so she gave Bingo to Chilli. But by the time she had healed from all the sadness she was carrying, the pup already saw Mrs. Healer as her mother. That's why Brandy couldn't bring herself to visit her sister. But hey, you can definitely go grab your popcorn and that cold drink, because another super special Cinewave is starting. Have you ever stopped to wonder if Chilli is actually able to have children? Sure, that includes Bluey, but let's focus on Bingo first. It's possible that Mrs. Healer couldn't get pregnant. In the Dragon episode, we find out that Chilli's mom sadly passed away, most likely due to an illness, probably some type of cancer. We know this because Dragon is one of the ways people refer to that disease. When we meet Brandy and find out that her biggest dream is to become a mom, everyone wondered why she still didn't have kids, and Chilli replied that it wasn't meant to be. In other words, we can assume Brandy tried to have kids several times but couldn't. As for Chilli, we know she lost a child before Bluey was born, which gives us a clue that both Mrs. Healer and her sister have a hard time getting pregnant. If you add that to their mom's illness, we might come to the conclusion that their trouble having kids could be some kind of inherited issue. And if that's true, then not even Bluey could be Chilli's biological daughter, right? Wrong! There's still the possibility that Bluey and Bingo are Bandit's daughters with another character who carried the babies for Chilli. That happens in real life. When a couple can't have children but really love each other and want to start a family, it's common for them to find someone willing to carry the babies. So when someone says Bingo is adopted, it might be because she wasn't born from Chilli's belly. Is that part of the theory actually true? We'll find out in the upcoming episodes. Still talking about Chilli's difficulty having kids, let's explore another possibility. Do you remember the episode Perfect, when Bandit was talking to Fido and the two of them mentioned a surgery Bandit was thinking about getting? Something that would prevent him from having more children. But here's the interesting part. Maybe Chilli had that same surgery way before Bingo was born. How do we know that? Easy. Check out the episode Baby Race. In that story, Chilli makes it clear that she's feeling insecure and guilty about being a mom. In other words, she loves Bluey deeply, but she doesn't feel like she's doing a good job, and that's why she doesn't think she should have another daughter. Chilli only started to feel more confident after talking to Bella, Coco's mom. But that doesn't mean Mrs. Healer didn't already have the surgery before that. This theory is pretty believable because Chilli's job as a security officer is very demanding. So what does that mean? If you've seen the show, you know that Bandit spends way more time with the kids than Chilli does, and that's because she has less free time. Could it be that Mrs. Healer went through the surgery, regretted it later, and then chose to adopt Bingo? We'll find out soon. Would you rather spend more time with Chilli or Bandit? Comment with #Bingo so we can get to know you better. Another possibility is that Bingo, and maybe even Bluey, were adopted from an orphanage, and that Floppy, Bingo's favorite toy, came along with her to the healer's home. In the Sleepy Time episode, you can see that Bingo is born in space, coming out of the planet Earth like it's an egg. But Floppy comes out of somewhere too, the moon. It's kind of like saying that Floppy entered the world alongside Bingo, with both of them coming from another place. But wait a second, in the same episode we find out there are several other bunnies just like Floppy floating around Saturn. It's worth pointing out that in the dream, both Bingo and Floppy are born at the same time. It's like we're being told there are thousands of pups like Bingo out there and they're all together, but a bunny chose her the moment she was born. That could be a clue that Bingo was chosen. This might mean that Bingo came from an orphanage and that Bandit and Chilli adopted her when she was still just a baby. Do you believe it? Let's find out in the next episodes of the series.
Ooh.
Have you ever noticed that the healer couple seems to like Bingo more than Bluey? That's a pretty serious thing to say, but honestly, we've got some proof. In the episode Mini Bluey, the Healer sisters want to play a game where Bingo paints herself blue and pretends to be a smaller version of the main character, but Bandit and Chilli aren't into it at all. When they switch roles and Bluey starts acting like Bingo, the Healer couple looks way happier, and the main character gets so upset that she says, "They want two of you and none of me." That's proof that Bandit and Chilli chose Bingo. It's almost like saying Bluey wasn't a planned child, but the little red Healer was. That might be a clue that the Healers really wanted a second pup and chose to adopt Bingo. And honestly, that would make a lot of sense. Chilli had already lost a baby before, and Bluey is a miracle in her life. But if Mrs. Healer got pregnant again, the risk of losing another baby could come back. So if she wanted to raise another little girl, it might have been safer to choose a red Healer who needed to be adopted. It really does make a lot of sense. But what do you think about this theory? In the world of Bluey, there are a lot of meaningful messages, and one of them is definitely adoption. Let's talk about Missy, Bingo's school friend who's an Australian Terrier. In the episode Pass the Parcel, when Lucky's dad introduces a new rule, the kids all start running to hug their parents. But when it's Missy's turn, she runs straight into the arms of a character who is clearly her mom, but she's a German Spitz. That might be a clue that Missy is adopted, or maybe her dad remarried and that character is her stepmom. Another character who's going to be adopted is Winton. At the end of season 3, we see him leaving the house his dad sold, heading off to live with him and the mother of the Terriers. We don't know Winton's mom, we've never even seen her. But that image at the end of season 3, with everyone in the car, makes it clear the bulldog is going to be adopted by a new stepmother. Another character who delivers the same powerful message about adoption is Bandit's older brother, Uncle Radley. To this day, a lot of people think he's not the biological son of Grandpa Bob and Grandma Chris. If you check out Uncle Radley's page on the official Bluey website, you'll see that the character is a mix of Red Healer and Blue Healer, the two main coat colors for this dog breed. But Bandit's parents are Blue Healers, so how could the oldest pup be a mix? Here's another fun fact. In this breed, the red coat is actually the dominant color, which means it's way more common for a pup to look like Bingo than Bluey. That makes us think Uncle Radley has a close relative, maybe even a father, who's a Red Healer. But why would the show do something like that? Simple. Bluey is a show about dogs, and in real life there's still a big discussion about adopting versus buying a four-legged friend. We won't get too deep into that here, but maybe Bluey is trying to share a message about pet adoption. And a fun way to talk about it is by showing that even within the Healer family, like with Bingo, adoption is part of the story. What do you think about that? You know what we think? You should subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell.
Perfect.
Another theory has to do with how the characters look compared to their parents. Let's take a look at the markings on Bingo's and Bluey's heads and compare them to Bandit and Chilli. In Mr. Healer's case, his entire head is covered with a strong dark blue patch, but with Chilli, only half her face has a different color. Neither of those match Bingo or even Bluey, to be honest. Both sisters have dark markings on their heads, but the color change is split by a light stripe going right down the middle of the face. Could that mean the little pups are actually adopted? The show might have fooled fans by adding features that sort of match the parents while hiding key differences so no one would suspect anything. It wouldn't be the first time. In an interview on the Gotta Be Done podcast, Joe Brum, the creator of the series, said he asked the artist to include features from both Mackenzie and Jean-Luc in the little pup that appears at the end of the surprise episode. So basically, the show's creator wanted to leave it a mystery about who Bluey's daughter's father really is. He knows fans are rooting either for the New Zealand Border Collie or the Canadian Labrador, but by blending both dogs' traits into the pup, the show doesn't confirm anything. When it comes to Bingo and Bluey, maybe they did the same thing. Do you believe this theory? We'll find out more next season. Everything we've talked about so far are really fun theories, but at the end of the day, they're just that, theories. If you pay close attention, you'll notice there are a few weak spots in the idea that Bingo was adopted. First, if you look at the characters from behind, you'll see that Bingo has a patch that matches Bandit's, while Bluey looks more like Chilli. Second, there's absolutely no reason to keep something like that a secret from Bingo. She knows exactly who her parents are. Third, Chilli went through a tragedy with her first pregnancy, but she doesn't have trouble having kids. If she did, she wouldn't be the amazing mom she is. Not everything is a mystery or a hidden twist. Bingo is Chilli and Bandit's daughter, and nothing's gonna change that. You know what else won't change? You being here with us on the channel. We've got 2 more awesome videos lined up for you. We'll see you in the next one. Take care!